So I'm Tom Vince. I'm Business Development Director for the Health Sector for Merit. I've been working for the business for about 7 years now, focusing on project directorship and also operations directorship, and I've transitioned over the last 3 months or so to business development, so it's a fairly new frontier for me now. So please bear with me if needed. So what I'm here today to talk about is off-site manufacturing and digital construction, which helps us to deliver rapid new facilities, which we believe is absolutely key for the NHS and the backlog faced by so many of you. So I'm going to run through today why we do what we do, how we do what we do, and finish off with an example of essentially what we do. So first off then, looking at construction productivity opportunity, we see that as an absolutely key focus for us. This is how we changed our business over the last 3 to 5 years now to try and focus on this. So site work versus factory work is traditionally incredibly inefficient. Site-based manual work is highly inefficient with lots of tea breaks that come in at different times, different parties with different tools, specialist processes and tools, all segregated in silos. Site-based automation is very difficult to implement, far more difficult than in a factory setting. And eliminating site manual work essentially for us is key in improving productivity and providing us with the ability to centralise and integrate processes and systems, which again helps to improve that productivity. Manufacturing has automated and digitalised in factories, and this is our goal. Hence why we transitioned from what you'd view as a construction business now to a manufacturing business. Now, I refer to the charts here that I've just shown there. The top chart, the multicoloured one, shows an hourly activity percentage during a normal day shift pattern in a construction site. And if you focus on the blue, really ignore the other colours for this conversation, but you have the start time on the bottom axis there, along with the productivity on the vertical axis. Now, you can see there, based on productivity, on the blue in the morning, it takes a while to ramp up. You get peak output in the mid-morning, ramps down then towards the lunch break, completely stops at lunch, and then ramps up again fairly quickly, but then peaks and troughs throughout the afternoon to then finish at the end. Now, looking at digitalisation, construction is the second least digitalised industry out there, which I think is shocking. Digitalisation and productivity growth are directly linked, and that's been proven, and digitalisation of construction is critical to our platform's success. Now, if I look at digitalisation here in the two bottom charts, the left-hand chart there shows basically the parallels between a highly technically digitalised company versus a non. So the highly is red, and the blue is the non, over the last few years. And you can see their productivity has massively increased since pretty much 2010 onwards, versus on the right-hand chart there, companies which essentially don't bother with technology at all, and that integration, and therefore they pretty much flatlined over the last few years. So we do see this as a key opportunity for us, which we've implemented. Moving on to Industry 4.0, we see this as an absolutely key frontier for us and many around us. We're on the cusp of this smart revolution as it is, and this revolution will see smart factories with connected machines and intelligent robots all working together. But the question is, how do we get here? So a bit of a history lesson to start off with, for those that don't know. It was an education for me, this. The first industrial revolution started around the 1770s. That moved from hand to machine, from farms to the first factories using steam and water power. So a massive event for us all. The second occurred 100 years later with the introduction of electricity. That enabled the second revolution with automation and assembly lines, and the first chance for overall automation of all factories. The third arrived 100 years later, roughly about 1970 now, with the arrival of computers, very big ones back then. That enabled us to automate traditional manual labour in factories with the new computer electronic technology. Now, the fourth is just starting, as described as Industry 4.0. We're no longer looking at individual machines, but instead a network of intelligent factories, a smart network of things, huge collection of data from sensors and readings which interpreted using IA as an example, to predict problems such as breakdowns before they occur, assess efficiency and improve that. Like a supply chain, for example, we should be able to track deliveries from dispatch to predict exactly when they arrive in the factory to ensure they're productively inserted into a production line. This exciting opportunity means we need to rethink our businesses, which we are doing, to take them from the third generation of industrialisation to embrace this Industry 4. Now moving on to who we are, which I guess is the more interesting bit. Okay, so it was a very quick whistle-stop tour, that one. And I'll run through a bit more detail as to what we do now. So who are we? Merit is the UK's leading industrial construction and digital manufacturing specialist, delivering our centralised design to embrace productivity gains and Industry 4.0 by implementing off-site manufacture in our factories. Now we have an innovative product range approach based on design for manufacture and assembly platform. Projects are completed in approximately a third of the time compared to normal construction, as we've assessed, and we're able to deliver buildings using Merit's standard platform design, with 75 to 90% of our buildings being manufactured off-site, which is incredibly efficient. We produce high-quality, adaptable and flexible facilities that can be easily expanded and accommodate innovative technology as required, and we are zero Scope 1 carbon in operation. That's central to our core. Now moving on to our manufacturing capability, we operate out of the northeast. I don't personally, as you can probably tell by the accent, but nevertheless, that is where we find a supply of good labour and a good supply partner pool, which is key. We operate out of one of the UK's largest manufacturing facilities in Europe, comprising of just over 250,000 square foot in area, which is huge, over 2 factories. Factory 1 is primarily there to assemble and manufacture the MEP processes, which is the mechanical, and electrical and process services, and then Factory 2 is there to construct the facilities within, essentially. Our head office is just down the road from there, outside Newcastle, where our experience in-house expertise is cited. So how and why do we do it? Merit's objective within the health sector is to provide sustainable facilities fully compliant with healthcare professional requirements. And their key aspects to this delivery are speed to market, providing a fixed price, provision of a sustainable solution, and the use of our in-house expertise. Now, focusing first off on speed to market, as I said previously, we assess that our construction is about a third of the time of traditional methods. And this is done by overlapping design, on-site works and off-site manufacturing to allow essentially compression of that program. So design using standardised components which are mainly sourced in the UK and of high quality, and they're adjusted, and there's a bespoke layout amended to the client's requirements. On-site work is based on enabling works, substructure, superstructure that are done, and off-site manufacturing commences once the 1 to 200 is agreed, because we know what we're going to essentially provide for HVAC and the other systems like steam lines. Installation commences on-site at the earliest opportunity on-site, and you can see there in the diagram it shows our approach, Merit's approach on the top there, with the time saved broadly along with traditional build, which tends to go from design to on-site works with minimal overlap. And looking at guaranteed fixed costs, this is key for all sectors, particularly within NHS, because money obviously has to go a long way. We use a vast amount of software to assist with this in our design and manufacturing delivery methods. We deliver 3D modelling at tender stage with the ability to update architectural models in real time using workshops, with clients. This reduces design time overall, improves stakeholder engagement, ensures greater accuracy and speeds up the time of process of delivery. Now the clients can input directly into the model, ensuring the outcome is exactly what they envisage and meets the requirements. Our design and manufacture and assembly approach to design and build allows us to offer our clients a fixed price for their facility through our should cost model. Now designs are configured for functionality and affordability with cost updated in real time. And due to our products being based on a repeatable platform, we are able to accurately price that model from different types of buildings. This is converted to a metre squared rate using the RICS cost model, which links to the 1-200 BIB model area schedule. Now costs are tracked through a dedicated quantity surveyor who works closely with the procurement and tender team. The quantity surveyor will regularly review costs submitted at tender, advise any variations, and identify any added value through cost savings through the duration of the project, therefore giving absolute full visibility to our clients. Now, provision of a sustainable solution is core to what we do. We factor carbon zero design into all of our platform designs. This enables whole building electrification, for example, fresh air, HVAC systems, which are able to dynamically recover 70% of heat through our heat recovery systems, which we find is far more efficient than recert, for example, and far more adaptable in the future as well. We have highly efficient AHU fan walls, heat pumps are utilised, we optimise the BMS design and software, and we increase U-value and air tightness, and we provide a cloud-enhanced energy monitoring system, so we're able to essentially monitor the commissioning data and also the post-commissioning operational data to see what can be improved in parameters, etc., to provide an efficient building as possible. We have achieved significant reductions in operations and carbon and energy consumption. And to give you some kind of benchmark, our design does prove to be 69% more efficient than the CIBC benchmark data, and 42% roughly, sounds very exact actually, but roughly 42% more energy efficient than compliance with building regulation requires. Now moving on to our in-house experienced team. We're a tier 1 contractor exclusively, so we don't subcontract. We're vertically integrated, which broadly means we self-deliver. So we have all of our areas: design, manufacture, assembly, commissioning, validation, actually in-house. We're a national based business based out of the northeast. We research, develop and invest in technology in all our teams' core. And our core teams support and are directed by the Merit Board are virtual design construction team, architectural and structural design teams, mechanical, electrical, process, control, engineering design teams, manufacturing teams, on-site management, logistics, validation, commissioning, and project management and design coordination, all supported by health and safety, quality, planning, environmental, and procurement teams. So it's fully in-house. And we have, therefore, full control. Now, we have produced 2 main products, platforms, design. So these are basically our product ranges. The first is a FlexiPod, which is on the top line there. It's very small, so apologies, but essentially that can be any height, size required. It's a hybrid solution, traditional, core and shell. So essentially, the structural steel goes where the foundations go down first, or groundworks are completed. We then erect the steel frame and do the concrete floors. And that's very traditional, therefore fully adaptable, as you'd expect with a traditional build. This uses our virtual design and construction team with 4D BIM technology to produce a digital twin for site and manufacturing to run in parallel, compressing the build programs. Once the superstructure is complete, the mechanical, electrical and process pods and pre-assembled modules, which we call PAMs, are delivered to site and installed by our specialist teams. All pod and PAMs are fully inspected by the quality of the Merit QA team, firstly, followed by the client before dispatch to minimise site snagging and ensure full satisfaction. And where possibly they are recommissioned in the factory, so we have no issues. Examples are AHU pods, for example, for the HVAC system, switch room pods, electrical pods, and also we produce wall PAMs, essentially, which are wall panels manufactured off-site and shipped rapidly. Our off-site manufacture is circa 80% for our FlexiPod system, and typical duration from award to handover is about 14 to 16 months. This can be accelerated if necessary. Second product we offer is the UltraPod, which is a fully off-site manufactured volumetric pod solution, named the Octopod. It's expandable to a full building solution that can be figured to create multiple types of building for a variety of uses. The entire building is manufactured off-site in our Merit factory. The building is manufactured in transportable size units, hence why it's of that traditional, I guess, modular approach. All mechanical and electrical process components are installed in the factory, and architectural finishes installed also. It's fully pre-commissioned in the factory and signed off by Merit's QA team and client team. Essentially, the building is finished in the factory. And I personally witnessed clients walking around a facility within our facility, which is the factory, and it's quite astonishing actually how it is a finished project. Lights are on, HVAC's running, and it's all the interfaces, BMS are running as well. So therefore, it's all troubleshooted before it's delivered to site. Now, the building is detached as the Octopod units by the Merit specialist team, which are also reconnected on site by the same team following delivery. And normally on site, the foundations are traditionally constructed, and we aim to complete the hard landscaping to ensure a tidy site before delivery. Now, delivering reconnection takes between 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the facility size, and commissioning takes on average 1 to 2 weeks using the proven components and systems. Now, typical duration from award to handover for the Octopod is 9 to 10 months, and that can be accelerated if necessary. Now, the Octopod Plus, which is the bottom line there, is a adjustment or amendment to the Octopod, and it's where the internal height of the rooms is required to be 4.2 metres, therefore higher. Therefore, we're restricted by by the transport limits on the road, so we have to essentially split the pod down into units. So the service modules, the PAMs, are manufactured and transported separately, which you can see there are just broken on the top there, that top figure. They're all connected and recommissioned, pre-commissioned, in our factory as per the Octopod strategy. Now, a key note that differentiates us, I believe, from our competitors is all of Merit's products are designed to be reconfigured in the future with a design life of 60 years, that's what we believe is better than others. No timber is used in our product range, and the Octopod pods are fitted with Knauf concrete panel floors, which essentially means that they're not flexible. I mean that when you walk in it, it feels absolutely solid. It's no different to a concrete floor there. It's worth noting that our plant areas are 50% what is normally designed in traditional builds. Therefore, that allows extra occupied space to be utilised. Now, if we move on to the example that we can produce, which is the Northumbrian SSD sterilisation suite we produced. Leave it on the background once as I talk. So this is a FlexiPod product. It was constructed it was an £8 million project, the state-of-the-art healthcare sterilisation facility for Northumbria Healthcare NHS Foundation Trust in Cramlington, Northumberland, which is outside Newcastle. The two-storey facility was carbon neutral and provides a critical support service for the trust and other healthcare individuals and organisations. It disinfects and sterilises more than 500,000 pieces of medical equipment a year and uses a wide range of departments, which are used by a large range of departments and in GP practices, which has seen an overall increase of 200,000 pieces being sterilised per year. 90% of this building was manufactured off-site in our factory. 60 modules, including 59 pre-assembled modules, which are PAMs, and 1 Octopod this consisted of. Now, this was an infection control embedded solution in a zero carbon and in operation enabled building. We deliver a fully electrified building without natural gas. You're using sterilisers for Scope 1 net zero enabled solution, basically electric rather than gas. Throughout the design, we fully considered the HGM compliance and HPN compliance, and the focus was to address contamination early on in the design. We estimate the project was completed approximately 1 year faster than traditional build, from start of design to commissioning of the building, and the process equipment took about 13 months during design and validation in spite of the COVID-19. The building was handed over in July 2021, and that was key because it's in a factory environment which we can control. We got the contract in June 2020 in the middle of the pandemic, which much of the construction industry was furloughed during. Merit provided a complete turnkey solution, including all design from stage 2, the process equipment and hookup, and the integration of all plant equipment was included. We gave a fixed price that was delivered without variations and allowed for COVID-19 implications as well. The fixed price was agreed within 18 days from inquiry to award, and our plant area for this particular project was approximately 50% smaller than initially envisaged under stage 2, which enabled one of the plant rooms to be converted to a boardroom. Now that concludes my presentation.